It's absolutely wild to have incredibly low standards for what you expect the law and the justice system to carry out, and for that to be shot in the face, basically. So today we're going to be talking about Diddy and what happened at the trial. There have been a variety of responses on social media, which I will discuss at the end of this video, so I can vomit after, because truly, I am disgusted. Humanity is lost. I don't know what to tell you. So, on that happy note, Diddy's mammoth trial draws to a close. After 8 weeks of trial and 34 witnesses, Sean Diddy Combs' criminal case is drawing to a close. A verdict has been reached. Combs is guilty of transportation for prostitution of ex-girlfriends Cassie and Jane, and not guilty on the more serious charges on racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. That's a big disappointment, but we'll get into it. Judge Subramanian denied him bail. Supporters waiting to see him walk out of court were left disappointed, and he will be returning to a Brooklyn jail. He now faces 20 years in prison, and he's expected to be sentenced on the 3rd of October. The last few weeks, we have witnessed the gradual undoing of one of hip-hop's biggest icons. Taking the stands were his ex-girlfriends Cassie Ventura and an anonymous Jane who said they were physically brutalized and forced into sex acts by Combs. I found this infographic online, so I figured this could be helpful just as a visual if you need it. The fact that the more serious charges were basically dismissed is alarming to me, not just because of this case, but what I say all the time with cases like this, especially such a publicized case, is the precedent, okay? It's always about the precedent. It's like you're building a path for shitty people when there are precedents like this. And it's alarming because it's like this path can be walked down again by someone else who's guilty. Personally, I've said it before, I think Diddy is guilty of all the things he's accused of. The video of Cassie alone, now granted, that falls under the category of domestic violence as far as I understand, right? But the thing is, it's all context, right? Because when we see him dragging Cassie down the hall by the hair and kicking her, hitting her, whatever, that's the person we're talking about here. And I want you to keep that in mind for later as well. So I'm not saying that because he's a domestic abuser, he did everything else. But it surely puts a context on what type of man this is, okay? So this is a person who resorts to violence with no problems in a hall, mind you. A place where anyone could have walked by, mind you. Does that not tell you how insane someone is to do it publicly? It's not outside, but certainly someone could have walked by. And you're fine with that? That's insane. Like, the fact that you don't feel the need to hide it, to me, says something about either who you know or who you can blackmail. Because to me, that seems like someone who's not afraid of repercussions. And if you're not afraid of repercussions, it's because you have something. It's not because you have blind faith that people are idiots and you're going to get let off. I think you have something. That's my conspiracy theory. Allegedly, I think he's blackmailing someone. I think there's something going on here because it's not adding up to me personally. And that goes beyond having faith in the justice system. There's something off, in my opinion. We also heard from celebrities like Kid Cudi and Don Richard. Others, still hotel workers, assistants, and makeup artists, say they found themselves wrapped up in his world, one they say was fueled by drugs and violence. The rapper has admitted to domestic violence, but always denied any non-consensual sexual encounters or a larger racketeering scheme. So, this is another update. A judge denied bail to Sean Diddy Combs after a jury convicted the hip-hop mogul of what we discussed before. Lawyers for the recording artist had argued he posed no flight risk, pointing out his jet is being chartered in Hawaii. But Judge Subramanian cited Combs' history of violence as he ruled the rapper must remain behind bars until sentencing. So this is the only good thing that has come out of this, if we're really going to go into it. The only good thing is that he's not being let out on bail, and that's pretty minor. I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the results, it's pretty minor. And in fact, even lawyers online are saying that this was the best possible outcome for Diddy. Like, I'm not saying he won, but in a lot of ways, yeah, he won, because he's still facing the potential 20 years, but the heavier charges are gone, which again lends itself to my opinion that there is something fucky going on here. He knows someone, he knows something. I'm not buying this as being just how the law is working. I really don't. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, made an impassioned argument for the judge to release his client. The defense lawyers said Combs had attended a program for perpetrators of domestic violence to try to reform his conduct even before he was arrested, and that he had not been violent since 2018. Believable. I just think we should trust him, Agnifilo said. When did lawyers start going on vibes? I just think we should trust him. I just get a really good vibe from him. Like, he's good. The vibes are good. That's basically what you're saying. Like, you're saying it in a different way, but we're relying on what? Trust him based on what? When he was dragging his girlfriend down the hall by the hair? When he was drugging people? When there were people accusing him of sexual assault? When there are accusations of pedophilia? That's who we're gonna trust? The one that we have footage of dragging his girlfriend down the hall, that's who I'm gonna trust? But Combs' ex-girlfriend, musician Cassandra Ventura, had warned the court in a letter that hip-hop mogul posed a danger if released. Yeah, duh. The rapper had acknowledged domestic violence, but denied a non-consensual sexual encounters or larger racketeering scheme. And then it goes into everything we already discussed before. I really am so disappointed, I just don't know what else to say. But there is no larger disappointment than whatever you can find on social media. Now, I was scrolling on social media, not even looking for Diddy stuff, not looking at tags, anything, and a couple of things came up on my timeline, which I'm genuinely so disgusted, beyond disgusted, like repulsed by this behavior. So it turns out that Diddy still has fans, not something I knew. What the fans decided to do when they found out that he was acquitted for certain charges was this. Diddy fans squirting baby oil on each other after verdict in wild scene outside the courthouse. I cannot tell you how gross I think this is because listen, if you have the bad luck or lack of brain power to be a Diddy fan, I don't know how to help you, but to go out and celebrate that Diddy got off by using baby oil of all things, baby oil which is related to the alleged sexual misconduct, that's disgusting. Like, even if you think he's not guilty of that misconduct, squirting baby oil on each other while there are people like Cassie, who we have footage of, and that's domestic violence, it's a separate case, granted, still. We have an idea of what Diddy does, not even behind closed doors. But you're here being ha-ha hee-hee with your baby oil? Do you think Diddy's gonna notice? Like, are you okay? I don't think so. Regardless, on social media, there are plenty of other things that I've seen that are a true blight on humanity. There were a lot of people that I didn't take the screenshots of because like it's really unnecessary to read the comments themselves, but there were a lot of people who were basically claiming that anyone who was involved with Diddy who claimed that they were drugged or that they were assaulted or that there was sexual impropriety of sorts, they were all lying and everything was consensual, which I think is a crazy thing to allege because first of all, you weren't there at the freak-offs, and if you know anything about the freak-offs, even just the name, does it really sound responsible and like full of consent based on what we know about Diddy so far that's been confirmed? Because to me, it doesn't. To me, there's nothing that convinces me that he was being responsible about anything at any given point. So that's just my opinion. I think the behavior online is gross. You can disagree and think that Diddy's innocent. That's your opinion. But to go out and celebrate with the baby oil, to go commenting that Cassie and all of them are lying, like, what is that? Truly don't know what to say about that. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you think he's guilty of all of it or what's going to happen to him. Do you think he's going to get the 20 years? God, I hope so. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.